Hello and welcome our blood viewers to RTD's News English edition, and as usual we bring to you the major and top highlights of tonight. Djibouti accomplishes a space tour of force under the enlightened vision of our president, Gele. And on the international scene, Al Shifa Hospital plunged into darkness, lives at risk during Gaza fighting. Those were the major and top highlights. Welcome back to our newsroom, our beloved viewers. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh, following his participation in a double summit in Riyadh, capital of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The first summit attended by the head of state in Riyadh concerned the summit between Saudi Arabia and Africa and was devoted to launching a strategic partnership under the banner of strengthening solidarity and economic complementarity between the two orders. The second summit attended by President Guelleh in Riyadh was an extraordinary integrated summit of the League of Arab States and the Organization of Islamic Cooperation and was dedicated to the situation in Palestine, the scene for over a month of mass massacre by the Hebrew state of the civilian population of Gaza. It should be noted that in addition to his participation in these separate summits, the President of the Republic, or Chairman of IGAD, also engaged in intense diplomatic activity on the issue of Sudan, notably with his counterparts, the head of state and government of the countries of the region. Djibouti's first satellite was launched from the Vandenberg Space Base in California this morning. At around 10:34 a.m., it emitted its first signal over the country, confirming its smooth operation. The design engineers in the Ministry of Higher Education and Research, Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, closely followed the nano-satellite's progress from the satellite control room in the CERD. In a memorial ceremony at Bawadi Mall last night in the presence of the Minister of Higher Education, the official lunch was enthusiastically celebrated by all Djiboutians. This historic marked a significant milestone for Djibouti in its commitment to in-space exploitation, a project initiated in 2020 by the President, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Omar Guelleh. The nano-satellite developed by a talented team of Djiboutian researchers was propelled into space aboard the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket named Djibouti 1A. It aims to provide the country with real-time access to climatological and seismic data such as temperature, rainfall, river depth, and hydrometry across the country. With immense pride, the scientific community celebrated the success of the first attempt in the space race and the enthusiastic reactions of our engineers who designed this large-scale project. As we all can see, the ceremony that took place last night at the launching ceremony at the Bawadi Mall. In his speech, the Minister of Higher Education and Research, Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, referred to our country's flag today in space following the launch of the nano satellite. It should be noted that thanks to the nano satellite's high division spectral data, engineers can improve agricultural practices and monitor environmental change more effectively. Following the official and successful launch of the Djibouti nano satellite from the headquarters of Vandenberg Air Force Base in the United States of America, the Djibouti nano satellite arrived at 10:34 a.m. in the country's sky. The moving activities of this nano satellite were closely followed by the design engineers of this project. In addition to the Minister of Higher Education and Scientific Research, Dr. Nabil Mohammed Ahmed, and the Executive Director of the Center for Studies and Research in Djibouti, also known in short as CERD. From the satellite control room at the Studies and Research Center in Djibouti, it was with great pride that the scientific community was able to celebrate the success of the first attempt in the race to space. It should be noted that satellites are distinguished by their great importance in various fields of technology. As satellites can travel far into space, which means their ability to detect huge areas of the Earth, they are also distinguished by their ability to transmit a clear vision of space and its components. This is due to transcending the layers of the atmosphere and high clouds. The Minister of Justice, Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdon, led a large delegation to Geneva to take part in the 44th session of the Universal Periodic Review of Human Rights. Before turning his attention to the state of human rights in Djibouti, Mr. Ali Hassan Bahdon expressed his dismay at what was happening in Gaza. What human rights are recognized to them when they die in the bombs, starving and thirsty? The civilian population is currently being brutalized, and for what? Asked the minister. He added that the Republic of Djibouti supported the full application of international law recognized by the relevant United Nations solutions to a two-state solution and the immediate cessation of hostilities. He also highlighted Djibouti's efforts to combat poverty and human trafficking and to improve access to health care and the right to education, among others. The minister was accompanied on his trip by the Secretary General of the Ministry of Justice, Mr. Maki Umar, the Chairman of the Human Rights Commission, Mr. Ali Subani Atiyeh, the Chairwoman of the Law Commission, Mrs. Kaltun Farah Saeed, the Legal Advisor to the President of the Republic, Mrs. Suad Hussein Farah, members of the Djiboutian Human Rights Commission, and senior officials from the Ministry of Justice. The closing ceremony of the 5th edition of this regional affair in Ali Sibih, which is once again proving to be a unique opportunity for young people full of talent and creativity, was officially closed yesterday morning by the Ministry of Youth and Culture, Dr. Hibu Mumin Asowi, in the presence of the region's prefect, Mr. Abdul Malik Mohammed Bonita. The President of the Regional Council, Mr. Sharmanki Hassan Alalle, the region's Honorable Djibiri, Mr. Abdi Khairi Bouh, Djibiri Abdou Siki Yedere, Deputy Elmi, and the head of the BS Army, Lieutenant Colonel Roble Muhammad Abdullah, the Chief of the Police and Gendarmerie, as well as the notable presence of the great Sheikh Muhammad Ibrahim, who was visiting the region for a religious conference. On her arrival, the Minister of Youth and Culture was warmly welcomed to the residence by the prefect of the region. The Ali Sibih Regional Fair, which ran for 3 days from November 9 to 11, symbolizes a soiled partnership between the public and private sectors. The Ministry of Youth and Culture, together with the prefecture and the Ali Sabih Regional Council, actively support this event, recognizing the importance of youth entrepreneurship for the sustainable economic development of the region. It's also an extraordinary opportunity to showcase the talent, creativity, and innovation of the region's young entrepreneurs. This event is part of a drive to promote youth entrepreneurship by providing a showcase for their products and services.
على سبيل وعرضي الحسكي عملت الراحة ذا عوضيو برواقة ذا غيرها عصاميو ورتد على كله داوضا على سبيل ويجي عقاشيو وعرضي قوشي انتيو عيارها عاملكو عاني
The Ministry of Youth and Culture, Dr. Ibu Mumin Asowi, accompanied by the Prefect of the region, Mr. Abdul Malik Mohammed Bonita, the President of the Regional Council, Mr. Sharmanke Hassan Alale, and the Member of the Parliament, Hassan Umar Obsiye, then officially inaugurated a branch of the region's Young Entrepreneurs Club. The main role of the branch will be to bring young entrepreneurs together in a structured organization to break out of their isolation and multiply their contracts via the business network, to provide access to expertise and regular updates on issues relating to their stature as managers and the development of their businesses, introduce young people to entrepreneurship, implementing a policy of investment and training young graduates in entrepreneurship is a way of providing young people with a gateway to business world. The Ministry of Environment and Sustainable Development, in collaboration with the BERGSA, organized a national communication workshop on marine biodiversity conservation. The workshop was chaired by the Secretary General of the Ministry of the Environment and Sustainable Development, Mr. Dini Abdullah Umar, and was attended by the Minister's Technical Advisor Adan Hassan Ilmi, the Director of Sustainable Development, and several officials from different parties who took part in the workshop. The first project communication workshop aims to raise awareness among the public and government stakeholders of the problems and issues associated with illegal fishing and fishing gear, and to inform them of the project's activities. It will also address the roles played by the various stakeholders in the public in supporting rational fisheries management efforts in the region, identify sustainable fishing strategies and their effects on target species and ecosystems, and raise awareness of the national fisheries sector policy in force in the Republic of Djibouti. The National Agency for Persons with Disabilities launched the fifth edition of the National Disability Week with a tour of the interior regions through awareness-raising sessions on entrepreneurship. Today, the National Agency for Persons with Disabilities launched the fifth edition of the National Disability Week with a tour of the interior regions through awareness-raising sessions on entrepreneurship aimed at young people and women with disabilities in collaboration with the CLE and the ADDS. The Director General, Mr. Douale Saeed Mahmoud, launched the fifth edition in the region of Arta alongside regional officials such as the Prefect of the City, Mr. Hassan Ahmad Dabari, the Representative of the Regional Council, Mr. Bakar Umar Aden, and the Minister of the Interior. Advisor Mohammed Kayad Rayale. The aim of the event is to raise awareness of entrepreneurship among young people and women with disabilities, encouraging them to engage in income-generating activities, but also to show that disability is not an obstacle. Last but not least, the Djibouti Handball Federation orchestrated the epic final of the 2023 Women's Super Cup at the State High School Gymnasium yesterday. The actors of this duel was the Gendarmerie team and the newcomers Rasdika. The defending champions, the Gendarmerie team, dominated the match with a clear 24-14 scoreline. After the intense Women's Super Cup, the show continued with a high-flying clash on the men's side. The Coast Guard and the defending champions faced off in a match that lived up to all its promises to the cheers of ecstatic fans. The Coast Guard finally prevailed with a score of 28-24. Chaired by Mr. Ahmed Mohammed, President of the Djiboutian Handball Federation, the matches were honored by the presence of the Coast Guard officers, National Gendarmerie officers, representative of the DITA team, the Federation, and all fans of the sport. The Coast Guard's dazzling victories added to their recent triumph in the Djiboutian Cup once again testifies to the exceptional form of the team and the remarkable work of its leader, led by ambitious Colonel Wais Omar Bogore. With the conclusion of the Super Cup, the spotlight now turns to the 2023-2024 championship season. The event was capped off with the trophy presentation ceremony for the Super Cup winners, as well as for those who have distinguished themselves during the match. Shifting gears towards the international scene, now intense fighting is taking place near hospitals, with Israel claiming that Hamas is using these places and people as human shields, which doctors, of course, deny. New Israeli strikes have condemned one of the last hospitals, leaving it without electricity. In Gaza's largest hospital, the last generator ran out of fuel, causing the death of a dozen premature babies and several other patients. The Israeli army has laid siege to Al-Shifa hospital in Gaza, using false pretexts that have no bias. In fact, thousands more Palestinians fled northern Gaza on Saturday, 200,000 in 3 days. The shell destroys urban neighborhoods. It should be noted that the conflict has claimed more than 11,000 Palestinian lives. Well, by this, our blood viewers, we finally conclude this edition. Thank you for being with us, and make sure to tune in later for more. Have a wonderful evening. Take care.